Alright, want to do a video here on NIO. This can be ticker symbol NIO. Haven't made a video on it in a while. Really hasn't been a whole lot going on with the stock itself. Just kind of sitting pretty much flat. We did have a nice little spike up last week. But for the most part, we're sitting right around that $4 price point. So I just want to move through some of these time frames, starting with the weekly and then moving into a little bit of a closer time frame. But we can get a good idea of where NIO might be moving in the near future. So just starting out here on the weekly chart, we can see that we're really just sitting right on top of this 9-day moving average for the past 4 or 5 weeks. Not really making a whole lot of progress. And what I really would have liked to have seen is as we moved through this 50-day moving average on the weekly, we are holding above the 9-day, that after this pullback we would continue to move back up, consolidate and move back up. And that's still a possibility, but as time goes on and you see these pullbacks from these moves higher, it makes it, to me, a little bit more difficult to quantify that move to the upside. To me, I'd be more, as far as the weekly time frame goes, I would be looking more down here towards the $3 price point as we see the PPO rolling over. We're starting to see the volume diminish over these past 4 to 5 weeks. And you can see we've already started off the week moving down just slightly, not too much, but down about 1% today. But really what could be the straw that breaks the camel's back would be breaking through and closing below that $4 price point. Moving on to this daily right here, and this will also be relevant on the 4-hour chart, as we have this upward trend right here dating back to these lows from, I think it was early January, just early January, after that big run, basically breaking through these high 270s. We broke through, made it into the $3 range. After that big move, we saw a little pullback before the next little run. That's our first bottom, and then you can see we've had a couple more bottoms on it, and recently we've been tapping on it almost every day. You can see the PPO here is still pointing up, looking like it's starting to roll over or at least go flat. RSI is looking good as well. And then again, you can see the volume have kind of just decreased ever since we broke through that $3 price point, basically, that we've seen this volume kind of diminish down. I'm going to go ahead and scoot that down, and we'll move it into the 4-hour. And you can see this just a little bit better, what I'm looking at. So again, here's our upward trend. I would put a pretty strong resistance up here around the $4.50 price point. And the reason for that is because that's where we saw, once we saw this breakthrough of these high 270s, we'll call it, where did we stop? 450, right? And then that acted as a little bit of a resistance as we were coming back up to it, acted as a resistance here, acted as it here, and just last week when we had the pop through and we broke back down through 450, it acted as a resistance again. So really these are the 2 points that I'm looking at. Are we going to break to the downside here? If we do, I'd be looking down here towards the 350 price point per se. So you can see we had a bounce here, bounce there, which ended up failing. But that's where I'd be looking. And honestly, if we were to break down from there, I think we could be going all the way back down here to 3 is what my target level would be here on NIO. Just because that's not really a good sign. You can see we're basically setting higher lows, so the same low continuously. And if we were to break through this low, we might just be heading all the way down here to $3 per share. But on the other side, let's say we make a nice little bounce off of $4, or even if we dip down towards the low 390s tomorrow or at some point this week, and we see nice momentum roll in, we see some volume roll in as people find that to be a good buy, and we could start rolling back up. I would say the closest resistance that we need to get through is right here in the low 420s up to about 425. That would be the first level that I would be wanting to get through, mainly because that was our last top as far as a nice little run goes. So let's move it into the 15 show it. Yeah. So this is what I was looking at. Last Friday we started moving back up, and then Monday morning we marked it as a high. We also had it as a high Thursday morning, um, and it acted as a support after that big run up. So that first mark would be 420, and then after that, I'd be looking towards that 450 mark. So if you did want to play this, say you got in tomorrow and the high 390s, that quick dip before 4, as you can see, we actually did have it right in here today, late in the day. But if you wanted to play that, it could be about a 13% gain to the maximum upside, and about a 7% gain to that 420 mark if you were to get in the high 390s. And maybe you wanted to play this to where you have a relatively bigger stop. If you got in the high 390s and you wanted to, as we were breaking through these lows right here, which would be in the mid 380s, you'd be looking at about a 2% loss. So, overall, it could be a good trade if you're wanting to take it on, maybe with a smaller size. And as it starts to show signs of rolling back up to the upside, then maybe at that point you would want to add more to your position size if you become more confident, or it looks as if the momentum is working in the favor of NIO. But again, let's pay attention to these two lines. I do think that NIO has some potential here to make some nice gains, but we want to see some more volume, more liquidity flowing in to help boost that price, either to the upside, or if we break down, we'll probably see it to the downside as well. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. It's a little bit more clear. I want to start off with a pretty clean chart here rather than having all the previous lines that I normally have on there. So hopefully that cleared things up a little bit. But nonetheless, thank you guys for watching.